And good afternoon, everyone. It's the first time I'm saying those words. That must mean something breaking has happened. And yes, I think this is our first breaking news New York Giants football talk. When you have a team that's been 4-13 and 4-13, there's not too much to break, but we have breaking news. Broke around midnight last night. Paul was, probably asleep at midnight. He got the news this morning. I
Very
gave
much
him the news.
asleep.
I gave him the
Yes,
news.
you did.
I gave him the news at midnight. Being a night owl, being a guy who works overnights, the Giants are set to hire John Harbaugh. It's all set in stone. They're just working out the numbers. We have our newest head coach. We're here to break it down for a few minutes. As always, I am here with my brother from another, Mr. Paul Rosen. He's got his Giants jersey on, and rightfully so. It's the first time in a while since Jackson Dart has emerged, since our possible franchise quarterback. This is the most excited I've been since our Super Bowl victory.
I agree, Kenny. Good afternoon, everybody. Listen, I just want to pat you on the back and pat me on the back. We're going to take full credit because it goes back to early November before anyone else had come out with this name and that name. And we sat down on, I think it was the first week in November, and you and I came up with a list of our top 5 candidates. And both you and I had John Harbaugh on the list as one of the candidates we wanted. And he fit all of the criteria that we were looking for. A proven winner, someone who has been a Super Bowl winner, not just a winner. Obviously, unbelievable record in Baltimore, championships, going to playoffs almost every year, or 2/3 of the year, 2/3 of the years he's been in Baltimore. Believe me, the way the Giants have been the last 12, 13 years, anybody would take that. But we wanted someone with experience. We wanted someone, Kenny, who was an adult in the room. No more of the Dables, we said. No more of the Shermers, McAdoo's, Joe Judge, God forbid. We finally got it right. I'll say it right now. Thank you, John Mara. Thank you, Chris Mara. Thank you, Steve Tisch. You guys got it right. You did the right thing for Giant fans. And we are so ecstatic and so excited for what's about to begin, because this is a new era. And you guys understood that what this hire is going to be, even though, he may be a little older, but the guy is one of the fixtures, one of the coaches, probably a future Hall of Fame coach in the NFL. And clearly, the Giants did what they needed to do to get this franchise back to where it would be or should be a cornerstone, relevant, and one of the amazing franchises in the NFL.
Yes, and listen to a couple comments from our good friend, our co-host on K&K Sports Show, Kurt Valenti. He's chiming in, and he's coming in with an outside perspective as a Broncos fan. Home run hire. Finally, a real head coach. Adult in the room. Locker room will be fixed immediately. Best coach in the NFC East. Second best team in the NFC East right now.
It's funny,
Music to
Kenny.
my
Let me
ears.
just say this. I made some comments. Obviously, neither you nor I had a conversation with Kurt. First thing I wrote down, best coach in the NFC East, most respected coach in the NFC East. So, you know what, Kurt? You're 100% right. We're all on the same page. We've been talking about this. Whether it was, we obviously wanted Belichick for whatever reason. He chose to stay in North Carolina, though I think if he had come out, I think the Giants would have been right there on his front door. But that being said, this hire is not sloppy seconds. This is not someone that you're going to say, well, we'll take. No, this guy, like Kurt said, what I just wrote, I'm sure you were thinking, who's better, Brian Schottenheimer? Please, who's better? Nick Sirianni, who may not even have a job in a day or two, quite honestly, and Dan Quinn, good coach, good defensive coach, great defensive coach, but I'm taking John Harbaugh over Dan Quinn as a head coach every day that ends in Y.
Yep. One more from Kurt, and then I just want to do a comparison real quick, and then a couple more hellos coming in as well, Paul. Kurt says, when you can get a proven championship head coach, you go do it. And the Giants did it. And Graham saying good morning. He's out there in Canada, so it's still morning,
Hey,
barely
Graham.
morning there for him. What's up, Graham? And Luby, your lovely wife, is saying we are so ecstatic. Go Giants! We have a hope now to be proud of the team again.
Thank
Absolutely.
you, my
And,
love.
and Kurt's saying great hire, 100%. I want to bring Graham, who's a Bronco fan, and Kurt into this. I'm going to compare our Giants now to the Broncos a couple years ago. George Payton, their GM at the time, signs Russell Wilson to a big trades for Russell Wilson, takes on a big contract. Joe Shane signs Daniel Jones to a big contract. Now, I'm not comparing George Payton and Joe Shane, but I'm saying maybe Joe Shane now with a good head coach can become the guy who just sits behind, you know, Harbaugh, who makes the real moves, and Joe Shane's just the name on the paper that's signing those deals. Russell Wilson, Daniel Jones. They got rid of Russell Wilson. We got rid of Daniel Jones. Okay. Bring in Sean Payton, clean house from the Nathaniel Hackett's, Vic Fangio's, a couple of their other coaches that they had and the disasters they had. Bring in a proven head coach. Respectability in year one with Russell Wilson as their quarterback. Last year, they get to the playoffs with a roster that was salary cap hurt by the Russell Wilson deal. This year, they're the one seed. I have a lot of hopes that this is going to be very similar path that the Broncos took, and we are going to be respected. And like Kurt said, already the second best team in the NFC East in his eyes. Well, you know what? Let's get best team in the NFC East in 2 years, and let's get to that Super Bowl in the near future, Paul. So I'm very
Yeah.
excited, and I'm
Oh,
comparing the Giants to the Broncos path. You know,
yeah.
yep.
I totally agree, Kenny. I think that's a great comparison. Look, do I think the Giants will go to the Super Bowl next year? No. I mean, let's be realistic. But I will say this: if they can win 8, 9, 10 games, or at least have, John Mara always calls meaningful games in December with an opportunity to get to the playoffs. That's all we want from the Giants as Giant fans. Make the season meaningful. We don't want to be by the end of October, oh man, what draft pick are we going to get? That's all changed. The mind, the mentality of the Giant fan is, this is it for the long haul. I mean, I'm sure they will give him a 4 or 5 year contract, and maybe I'm going to go out on a limb, but I would say within those 5 years, the Giants will get to the Super Bowl.
Love it. Couple hellos. Eddie Murphy, fellow Giant fan. Hello, gentlemen. Congratulations, Eddie. We got our head coach. Let's go.
Yep.
And Keith saying congratulations, Giants fans. Keith Brudman over at Rocky Mountain Sports Network. Thanks,
Hey, Eddie. Hey,
for
Keith.
tuning in
Thank you.
this afternoon. The little Keith likes to call, uh, we didn't steal this at the beginning, but I'm going to steal this now from Keith. When the Broncos on Denver Bronco Roundup, and go check out our friends over there at Denver Bronco Roundup. They got a big game coming up Saturday. They'll be doing pregame and postgame. I'm going to try and join them before I go to work that day. But I'm stealing this from Keith. You don't have it copyrighted yet, Keith. Emergency podcast. This is an emergency podcast, Giants podcast. Love you,
I
Keith.
love
And I
it.
love when you do that emergency podcast. We called it just breaking news, breaking news Giants football talk today.
News alert.
News alert. There you go. And Michael Ronquillo with Blue and White Hearts. Congratulations, Kenny and
Hey,
Paul. So
Michael.
we're getting a lot of congratulations out there. 5 for 100 million is the report that Eddie's getting for the contract, and I'm
5
okay.
for
Give him
100.
whatever.
Okay.
Wants 30.
Yeah.
Give him 30. I'll take it.
Listen, I was looking through some of the social media, and some guy said, oh, how much is it going to cost? And my feeling, I responded to the guy. I was a little ticked off, a ticked off Vic response. But I said, first of all, with all the other crap that the Giant coaches have had, you're going to complain about what we're paying him?
No.
I mean, are you out of your mind? I said, there's another team in the metal that plays in MetLife that maybe you want to go root for.
Let's do this because we are gonna. This is gonna be a short podcast. We'll be on Tuesday doing our normal New York Giants football talk. But I like this question from Graham, so I want to definitely hit it up today, and then we can actually segue and maybe ask this question again on Tuesday with some other players. He says he wants to know: do you think Harbaugh is all in on Jackson Dart, Paul?
Absolutely. From what I've read, uh, he loved Jackson Dart coming out of college. So, not that they were going to draft him, but apparently he held him in very high regard. I think, quite honestly, I think that was maybe the defense was 1A, because I think any good coach coming in is going to turn this defense around and be the kind of defense that maybe hopefully the Broncos have. But I think Jackson Dart is right up there for the reason that he accepted the positions. I mean, you're talking about the Titans, you're talking about the Falcons, their quarterback. I mean, Cam Ward, I'm not taking anything away from Cam Ward, but honestly, I'd rather have Jackson Dart than Cam Ward. But the Falcon quarterback situation was a little flux with an injured Michael Penix, who of course Kenny and I loved coming out of college, and Kirk Cousins. So yeah, I think he is all in. I think he's going to be able to mold him even more so, and I have no doubt Jackson Dart is his quarterback.
I got one from Keith too, but I'll answer it. I just add this. He took the Giants job without even going to the Titans and Falcons. So I agree with you.
Yeah,
The
good
Titans,
point.
number one pick last year in Cam Ward. And I think he has to, I think with the right coach, I think Cam Ward's going to be a very good quarterback in this, has a chance to be a very good quarterback in this league. And the Titans have a lot of cap space to add offensive depth for them, offensive playmakers for Cam Ward. The Falcons mentioned Penix, but they still have Kirk Cousins and Penix over there. But you got playmakers on that offense. Bijan Robinson, arguably the best running back in football. Drake London, top 10 wide receiver when healthy. Kyle Pitts had a nice second half of the year with Kirk Cousins. Didn't even go there for an interview. And the last team I'll mention, who wasn't on this list, the Raiders, who have the number one pick and a ton of money to spend as well. These teams, he didn't even think about it. He went to visit the Giants. The Giants pushed hard for him. He knows how hard the Giants pushed, and I think he is all in on Jackson Dart. Because when you taking over a team, the first thing you look at is quarterback, and then all the other positions are below your quarterback. So he
Let me
took that with
I,
before anything else. I totally agree. He's all in on Jackson Dart.
and let me make two other points, Kenny. Great points that you made. Fantastic. First point, after he was let go by the Ravens, only a couple of days later, he started saying, I think the Giant job is something that I can really see myself in. So almost immediately, he was thinking, how would I fit in as the coach of the New York Football Giants, which is fantastic to hear. Second thing is, what I read, and maybe you read it also, I'll mention it. Todd Monken, his OC in Baltimore, he's going to bring him with him. I think Todd Monken had pretty good success with a guy like Lamar Jackson for a number of years. So the idea of bringing that kind of mentality that they had in Baltimore to New York with a guy like Jackson Dart only, in my opinion, will improve and make Jackson Dart even that much better than what he showed as a rookie, which he showed plenty of, as we all saw.
Yeah. A couple comments from Eddie, and then let's get Keith's question, and then maybe we'll ask one or two more questions, and wrap it up in 10 or 15 minutes here. Eddie say McAdoo, Shermer, Dable, Judge was all a plan to lead us to this coach. And then he says, I took the gas out his jet so he couldn't leave. All agreed to be the head coach. And Eddie
Mhm.
Murphy saying Dart can throw unlike Lamar Jackson. Keith has a good
Right.
question though. He wants to
Yeah.
know, Paul, what's our biggest concern with the hire? Things weren't perfect in Baltimore, to be honest. Oh, you want me to go
You're
first?
you're at
He's
you want to go
asking both of
first
us.
or
I'll
should
go
I?
first. I'll go first.
Go ahead.
I don't have any concerns with his coaching ability to get this team to not only respectful level, but to the Super Bowl and hopefully a Super Bowl championship within the next 5 years. My concern, if I had any, Keith, is the guy you just mentioned, his offensive coordinator. He's not officially the offensive coordinator yet. He has an interview with the head coaching job, believe it or not, with the Browns, I think, and he's got a offensive coordinator job lined up with the interview for the with the Buccaneers. But Todd Monken would concern me a little bit. Sometimes he gets in his ways. He had Derrick Henry and he's passing the ball 40 times and using Derrick, not utilizing Derrick Henry where he should every week. So he's changing his mind every week on his game plan, and I get that. But that would be a concern of mine is Todd Monken, maybe using Jackson Dart where the way he shouldn't be using him, and that's passing the ball 40 times in the pocket, one week. And that's not saying every week, but depending on the matchup, he may go away from the run game or Jackson Dart's, mobility to spread the ball outside on bootlegs and running the ball himself. So that would be a concern, and that's the only one I have. I don't have any concerns on John Harbaugh's coaching ability.
Yeah. I my only concern, if you even call it that, is this. I think after a number of years, a coach in one organization, it gets to a point where it becomes white noise, unfortunately, no matter how successful. I mean, Coughlin spent a long time with the Giants. Look at Mike Tomlin just now, and John Harbaugh. You get these guys that, quite honestly, are coaches don't coach that long anymore. It used to be, the Tom Landrys, they were there 30, 40 years, whatever it was. Um, I think it gets to a point where I don't want to compare it to marriage, but sometimes, you just have to divorce. So I think this is almost a way that Harbaugh is going to get a new lease on life. Maybe he was feeling pressure. Maybe this was almost the best thing for him. I mean, the fact of the matter is there was a separation for whatever reason. Sometimes you never hear the real truth about how guys are fired or they choose to leave or they mutually separate. But the bottom line is that everything that this organization didn't have, the stability, the respect, the cachet, the relevance, everything, it now comes to a stop because we now have, as Kurt said earlier, and we all agreed, you have the best coach in the NFC East and possibly, arguably, the best coach in the NFC conference.
Agree. And Keith's also asking a second part to this question. Any concern that Harbaugh doesn't call offense or defense, that he's just a leader? Some coaches don't need to call the offense or defense, and I think John Harbaugh is a perfect example of that. Todd Monken, if he is the offensive coordinator, yeah, I just said I had some concerns about him, but he's up in the booth, and that's where I want my offensive coordinator if they're calling the
Mm-hmm.
plays. You see, show Vic Fangio every week when they're seeing the Eagles. He's up in the booth. I like that kind of view. You can see everything in a different view, different point of view up in the booth. And you can radio down to John Harbaugh, and he'll be listening. This is what we're going to go with, John. And John, as the leader, will say, "I don't like it. Let's change it. Change it up at halftime. Halftime adjustments, fourth quarter adjustments. That's what the headphones are for."
Yeah, I agree with you, Kenny. Listen, Harbaugh is like a CEO, all right? Under any CEO in any organization, you're going to have hopefully respected leaders, whether to use football, the offensive leader, a defensive coordinator, an offensive coordinator. Hopefully, he brings in guys that he respects, that they have the intelligence, they have the experience to lead those units. Ultimately, he will make the final determination whether it's go for 2 points or the kind of defense if he doesn't like a prevent or whatever. But the Giants were lacking in that respect, having that leadership type of CEO as the head coach. That stops now. And I love that. As a fan, I want to see that. We haven't seen that in 12, 13 years. So I have no problem having that kind of coach as my leader. Let's face it, he's not a similar coach as a Sean Payton who's calling the plays, or an Andy Reid who's calling the plays, or someone like that. But that works for those teams. I think the way Harbaugh has coached over the years, and you can't argue with his success, right, Kenny?
No.
That works.
And another thing that a lot of when you talk about your favorite teams, you don't talk about this team much. We don't have to worry about special teams next year. We know our special teams is going to be better. So we'll talk about that on Tuesday. We'll have a nice agenda lined up for everybody Tuesday, but special teams will definitely be better. Paul, I know you got something special. You want to welcome John Harbaugh to our New York Giants. You have a nice surprise for everybody, a little parody you made up for John Harbaugh, welcoming him to our New York Giants. I'm going to put
All
you
right.
big on the screen. I'm going to go a little smaller. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Me and my parodies. So as soon as I heard after Kenny let me know that the Giants were hiring him, I said, you know what? Let me do a parody. And I immediately thought of one song that popped into my head. It took me about 5 minutes to write it. And I hope you guys like it. And it's to the tune of, if you know the old Chuck Berry song, Johnny Be Good. So here it goes. Deep down in the Meadowlands in New Jersey, there will be a new coach that we can cheer with glee. Came from Baltimore, fans will be in awe. The name of the coach is Johnny Harbaugh. He was always a winner as the Ravens did well, but he will now coach a team that will soon excel. Go, 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 Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go, 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 Johnny Harbaugh.
Great job, Paul. Great job as always. I love it. Love it.
Thank you.
While we're at it, Paul, let's get some final thoughts in. We'll be back Tuesday with another exciting episode for sure. Floor is yours. I'll just go real quick and then you'll get the final words. Congratulations, Giant fans. Very, very pleasing day for us. And welcome, Coach Harbaugh, to the New York Giants. Wish you nothing but the most success and so much respect for you as a head coach in this league and leader among men. Can't wait to see what we do heading into the off season, heading into training camp, and heading into the 2026 season. Go Giants.
Coach, we are so ecstatic that you're here. Listen, New York, it's a whole different animal, but you know that. You've been around the NFL a long, long time. And the good thing is, with the experience you bring to the New York Giants, you're going to turn this organization around. The fans will love you because you're going to make us winners again. You're going to make us relevant. You're going to make us a team that doesn't want to come into the Meadowlands to face us. And we can't wait for you to get started. I'm sure every player that has seen that you are coming to the Giants, whether they're on the team now or a pending free agent, they want to come and play under you, with Jackson Dart, with some of the incredible talent that we do have. And I can only thank again the Mara family, the Tisch family, for making this work for us. We are so ecstatic and just excited, even in the off season, of next coming season and from years to come.
Have a good day, everybody, and enjoy. And we'll see everybody on Tuesday for a full episode of New York Giants.